This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Hey, everybody in Chiefs Kingdom. We have a brand new show for you. Dan, live from St. Joe. Evidently, Siri's going to answer me too because everybody wants to know what is going on with this team. So you know what? Let's get after it. Welcome back. Hope you guys are ready. This is RGR Live, showing off the new threads tonight. See what your phone has to go. Biggest KC symbol I've ever had. What's up, Miss Avery? Star of the show is here. So it's going to be great. Welcome in, everybody. If you're new to our channel, if you're watching this on replay, this is RGR Football. He's Dan Harms out there in St. Joe tonight. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR Football, and we're going to break it all down for you. It's been a pat myself on the back week or weekend anyway. So we're going to have some fun with that. We're going to show you some film. We are definitely going to get to this guy and this guy and these guys too, because, you know, we can't really get away from them. It is Pat Mahomes in the group. So this is your show, though. We're going to give you our topic of the day, and then we're going to get straight to your question. So if you have a question you want answered tonight, get it in the chat. Throw a super chat in. Every super chat is guaranteed an answer tonight. And we're going to get to them all real shortly. But, Dan, we got to start at where we start. You're there in person. What did you see today that took you by surprise? This is always my favorite day. First day back from preseason game number 1. What took you?
The rain. Honestly, it was unfortunate because I feel like every time I am in the vicinity of St. Joe, it starts to rain. And it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, which I'm frustrated. I'm a little frustrated because I feel like I'm bringing bad weather. But at the end of the day, Carson Steele was out there with the first team. It was a light day. Like, it was a light day. It wasn't anything intense. They just went through some team stuff. They did special teams and then some individual drills. And they got out even an hour earlier than they were anticipated, at least this for them when they were scheduled. So you have days like that where they're just going through. I think Andy just wanted to give everyone a day off considering the injuries. They had like 5 or 6 guys in non-contact vests, things like that. So there's a lot of guys nursing nicks and bumps and bruises already. So why add more to it? But at the end of the day, for me, this was twofold. Carson Steele getting work with Patrick Mahomes, and it was a busy, busy day for Xavier Worthy. He was pretty much the guy that got everything, considering he wasn't targeted in the 3 routes that he ran with Patrick Mahomes. It felt like they wanted to get him involved a little bit, and you heard him talking in the press conference post-practice that he wanted to get in on some of those punt returns, things like that. I think we'll see him get a punt return in the preseason. So at the end of the day, this is a very Xavier-worthy rookie forward episode I think we're going to have for you guys today, because Kingsley was pretty good in his snaps. If you guys want to check those out, I posted them on Twitter. We'll talk about them probably on Wednesday as well. So there's a lot of rookie forward stuff from camp and from the preseason game that we're going to get to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it. Folks, if you want in the action, go check out BetUS. Right now, you can get a 125% sign-up bonus and up to $2,000 right now. We're going to tell you more about them, but welcome aboard BetUS to our sponsorship crew. We're going to have a lot coming for you this year, folks. I'm excited because both those guys certainly ticked up. There's a number of other guys, and we didn't even get to cover them all in the post-game stream. If you are new to the Q&A, folks, we do post-game live every game. You'll be able to hear us, see us, and we will knock down all the rumor mill already and actually what we saw. And that is Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. Looks like we're doing it at least 6 different days this season because of the
yeah, it's fun.
So make sure you're with. Yeah, you know, it makes life interesting. That's for sure. So make sure that you like and sub and are with us along the way. So we're going to get straight to your questions. We appreciate you guys being with us. Starting with Caroline. Nice to see you, Miss Caroline. Can't make it tonight, but wanted to ask. She was in here earlier. Thank you very much. Who will be guarding the tight ends RBs this year without Willie Gay? Hicks, maybe play more zone, do you think? Or loving the camp breakdowns from both of you. Thank you, Miss Caroline. We appreciate you very much. I think it's going to be a mixture because I don't really see a limitation on the safeties myself. How do you feel?
It's going to be a lot more about on early downs. because Justin Reed and Jaden Hicks can do that on your sub packages, and that's what they've been doing, especially in the postseason last year. You saw Justin Reed come down and be in the box and guard tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. But it's the early downs when you have maybe 2 tight ends on the field, and okay, team might be able to run the football, but also just play action you to death and get you in those matchup problems. It has to be Drew Tranquil. Drew Tranquil has just got to get, I think, a little bit more acclimated. He will be. That's a good one, Oregon. Carson also. He will be more. He'll be better when he gets into the season, everything like that. But it's a problem. It's going to be kind of a problem because you don't have Willie Gay anymore. And from what we saw on Saturday, it doesn't appear that Cam Jones is in the good graces, and he's the guy that we kind of thought was going to be the Willie Gay takeover spot kind of role. So if we're looking right now, I think it has to be Drew Tranquil.
I agree. I was a little disappointed with Drew. Just he looked a little rusty. Some instinctual things that I think normally he plays better at.
Yeah,
just wasn't there. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about that. And I agree with you. I was disappointed. In the end, he got just as many snaps as Cochran did. Did you see anything today that looked different with their rotation at linebacker?
Not really. It couldn't really tell where everyone was. A lot of it because I'm paying attention to the offense at times. I'm paying attention to my daughter, who's trying not to roll down the hill that was covered in mud and slippery and slick and stuff like that. So I didn't necessarily see a lot of that today. Tomorrow, like I said, it's supposed to be raining again. We'll see if they even get out there on the field. And if they do, I'll be paying more attention to the defensive side. Yes, it's very pretty.
Yeah, that's usually where I have to go to. One side at a time, folks. It's like a line from Fight Club. That's all right. I do think if they do flip this, it just tells me there's more hunting and pecking. 24, 26, and 29 snaps for Cochran, Christensen, and Jones. That tells me they're still doing a heavy amount, heavy volume of evaluation. It was Swayze Bozeman, Curtis Jacobs that came in late, didn't get near as many snaps. So it's those 3 behind the starters as far as I can tell. That works just fine for me. Cochran definitely has the experience edge.
Yeah.
If it ends up being him over Jones, I'm not going to be worried about it as long as they're both available because they both have something to offer. If you're in a situation where you don't have one of your starters, today, luckily, they got Nick Bolton back. I know he's not going to be up to full range. I was glad to see it, a little bit relieved, to tell you the truth, because I was starting to get a little bit nervous. But I'm gonna withhold judgment until we know that we're 100% home free. But at that point, I think I'll start to feel better. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate you guys. If you would like, while you're here, that would be awesome. I know not everybody can stay for the hour that we're on answering questions, but happy to have them. Micah, hope you're doing well. Out of all the injuries we have right now, who do you guys expect to be out week 1? I have a couple gut feelings, but where are you at?
I currently only have Hollywood Brown. Yeah, good job. Hollywood Brown missing week 1. We don't really know the extent and the length of a lot of these injuries. I think Wanya Morris today didn't come downhill with his helmet on. He had that sleeve on his leg, the entire leg. So I think I'm a little worried about that right now. The fact that he's not even practicing a little bit with the offensive line. A couple of the tight ends got nicked up, but I'm not too worried about that. I saw that Wiley had also the non-contact jersey on today too, but he ended up going out there just fine and still got tossed around to the ground once or twice. So he seems to be fine. But I would just think that it would be Hollywood Brown, maybe Wanya Morris as well.
Okay. I'm starting to get a little concerned about Justin Watson as well. I agree with you on the first 2.
He was out there today running routes.
Yeah, did he look like he was back to normal, though? That's what I'm not seeing enough progression yet. I'm starting to get a little curious.
No, he looked fine to me. He caught a deep ball down the right-hand side, and he stayed after with Ian Book and was running routes with him individually. He looked fine to me.
Okay, cool. I agree with you on Wanya as well. Andy said it was a bone bruise. And that's exactly what we saw Travis Kelce have and make him miss week 1 last year. But that was a much more recent injury. The only thing I can think is that Wanya is obviously a much heavier athlete. We'll see how weight-bearing on that bruised bone might actually weigh on. So I hope he comes around. At this point, I don't think he's in a competition for left tackle anymore. Do you?
No.
Okay. So wherever he ends up, we're going to be okay. Micah had another one. He's got a series here, folks, because Micah comes in, launches fire and forget before the stream starts. So but don't worry. If you've got a question in here or super chat, we are going to get to you right quick here. After the injury to Hollywood on Saturday, do you think Coach Reed will play the starters in preseason moving forward? Yes, he has to. You still have to go out and prepare to play week one. I do think the superstars are going to get pulled off early. Obviously, Chris Jones is still not practicing, but I don't expect Mahomes and Kels out there for more than 2 probably drives in this next game. The O-line, I think, would be completely different. I expect them to play the whole first half with probably 4 solid starters and a rotation at left guard is my guess. How do you feel about how much the starters might play?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I would personally think that Andy Reid puts Mahomes and Kelsey out there for a full quarter. I still think you have to get them live reps in the preseason because this is their 3rd preseason game in essence, where you get usually Andy puts them out there for a full half. So I think at least a quarter after the injury is enough. Yes, that's a very nice butterfly. So I think that's where I'm landing with them. And then I agree with you. After that, you're going to probably see the offensive line on all the wide receivers with the first team consistently get out there with them to get those reps that they need.
Yeah, I think they're looking to see what 2 and 2 might equal 5 with the receivers. Just see who plays off of each other better. Folks, coming in hot, some memberships for you from Minotaur, our resident membership gifter. We appreciate you, buddy. You can use the emojis and all the stuff here in the chat with the free one that he's going to get you. Appreciate you, bro. And then you can upgrade to a rookie and that kind of stuff if you want. The little snippets, my notes, the extra content, the extra rants at times when things go wrong, you're going to get that content as well. Let's see, Micah. Also, who are the 5-6 receivers who make the roster following the Hollywood news? So his concept is that Hollywood's going to go either to PUP after the 53 cut down or go directly to injured reserve, which means he misses weeks 1 through 3. But who would be the 6 or 7 you keep it?
So we did get some good news on the Hollywood front is that he did not require surgery. They were able to get everything settled down in the hospital overnight, and he was free to go on this morning, and he's back in Kansas City. So that's the best news we could have hoped for on the Hollywood Brown front. That still puts him at about 4.5 weeks out from injury where he'll be able to come back and be mostly normal. So we're going to talk a little bit, and it's going to bring up one of the players that we are going to talk about today because there's some things in the game that I got to watch so far. I've got to watch the L22 pretty early this time around. And if you guys just watch this clip here, at the top of your screen, you're going to see Justin Ross out there running just kind of a whip, but it's more of a curl and then it's a whip because we have the quarterback getting out of the pocket. And if you notice really here, when we go back to the beginning, you're going to see him do a nice job of inside release, swipe the hands, and then he's going to get open right here. Okay. He's turning around on that curl. He sees the quarterback get out of the pocket and immediately starts to go to the sideline. That's the kind of stuff that we have not seen from Justin Ross. And now this did end up coming back because of a penalty away from the play, but that's translatable. Okay. Those are the things that he wasn't doing enough in his first season to be able to get in and acclimated. Really, it was the second year, but you guys know what I mean, to get acclimated to the offense. When the play breaks down, Patrick's moving out. He's doing something different. So that was a really nice example of how you grow as a young player in this offense. You have to learn some of the things that it takes. So I think right now, I'm putting Justin Ross on the roster with Hollywood Brown's injury. What do you think about that?
I'm pretty much with you. And this was, to me, the more impressive play than the jump ball that he went and got, because that's what he's always done. And if they're not willing to do that more, then he still doesn't fit enough. But that play changes it. He's got to be consistent. He's got to line up correctly. As I understand from sources that I trust, he's still having some difficulty understanding alignment so they can run the correct route. I want to see that a little bit cleaner. It shouldn't be a curl, but yeah, he's making progress, and I think that showed on the film. So it's Worthy and Rice, assuming Hollywood goes to IR or PUP. Worthy, Rice, Moore, Watson, right? terms of experience, trust, those are the factors. Those are 4 guys. If it's me, it is then Hardman and Ross right now. Remigio would be my next. Kadarius Toney would be off my roster if it were me. Do you disagree with those?
No, that's exactly how I would put it as well. The experience factor for McCole Hardman plays large. He had a very nice catch today down the left-hand side where it just caught in his fingertips, and he was able to catch that football in the wet, rainy weather. So, I think that he is going to be on this team if Marquise Brown is missing week 1, which we do expect him to do so. And outside of that, I don't know. It's going to be tough to keep these receivers this year like it was last year. That's why kind of how Indy went with 7. But we'll see how all that plays out once we get into the season.
Yeah. And I will say this too. McCole is a 1-to-1 replacement for Hollywood. He timed just as fast. You can still do the same things. And Xavier actually talked about it today about how, I'm going to have to do some different things because it's not me and Hollywood stretching the field. So having the double-pronged approach is something that McCole can fill in for. So I feel like he is instantly the guy that has to make the roster just for the speed aspect alone. We'll see who else battles their way. Game 2 is going to be critical for Ross, for Remigio. Honestly, at this point for Justin Watson too. I'm not convinced that everything's safe and sound. So I'm starting to be concerned. Okay, if you're confident, then I'm happy. But I'm gonna just go hold my breath just a little bit. Okay. Sorry.
Since he was rotating in with the ones again today, I've got zero real issue with that on my side.
Okay. Rock on. Okay. Swag Boy, early record prediction for the first 2 games. Love the show. I have a 1-1 right now.
Yeah, I'll be spicy. We're going to go 2. I'm going to say 2-0. I think that they can win both of those football games. I think the defense will be just fine, regardless of the running backs that they play. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson is going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. But the receivers don't scare me. Mark Andrews coming off of an injury-plagued year doesn't really scare me all that much. And their defense, I know that was really good last year. Lost some really good players. Lost their defensive coordinator. And I think in the first game of the season, the Chiefs can do some things to really screw them up. And I'm not too worried about that myself. So I also just don't think the Bengals are going to be all that great. I think that they're going to fall back. Not fall back, but maybe be better than they were last year. But their defense is extremely suspect as well. And Marius Mims is now dealing with an injury. It's not great.
Yeah, and makes me smile inside. It's fun. Swag Boy, we'll be CB 2 and 3. If you were calling it today, who you got?
I still think right now it is Joshua Williams as your number 2, and I would say Jalen Watson is your 3 because Watson has looked pretty good. He had an interception today, undercutting a throw from Carson Wentz, trying to force it to the red zone, and he just comes underneath it and intercepts it. I do believe it'll be Watson at the 3, but he could very well push for the 2, especially if Joshua Williams continues to struggle, which he kind of has.
Yeah, he was high for a bit, and he's come down. Same thing with Najee Johnson. I think since the re-injury, I think Najee's not back to 100%. So I don't think he's a candidate right now, but I do think he'll be on the roster without hardly any doubt at all, unless something else goes wrong injury-wise. Thanks, Swag Boy. Daryl, thank you. Do we get any surprise pickups after the cut down? I'd be watching running back still. We're going to talk about somebody here in just a second, but I would still be looking for a lightning bolt kind of guy.
Yeah, that's really all it is for me. They don't have a quick twitch running back. They don't. And that's something that this offense kind of does need a little bit because Pacheco is not a quick mover. McKinnon was that guy, even though he was dealing with some injuries that took some of it from him throughout his career. But they haven't had a ton of that without Jerick McKinnon. So I think that if you see someone that has playing experience, that has a bit of kind of quick movements to them, that they might bring them in for a little bit of an experiment right there.
Yeah, I think it's certainly worth it. Let's get a little bit there. Okay. Before we get to, how do I put this? You can call him Thor. You can call him Sunshine. I was going with Sunshine until I heard somebody say Thor today. Man of Steel, We're going to get to Carson Steele right here after a second from our new page.
RGR Football is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
And this is the deal. Fastest payouts in the industry. And right now you get a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 right this minute. Chiefs are all over BetUS because they're right at the top of the list for both Super Bowl matchups. Whichever you think is the most likely opponent for the Chiefs, you can pick right now, as well as the Super Bowl odds that are the best currently as we speak. Mahomes for the MVP, the conference titles. You can get into all the action if you want to get over to BetUS. That's 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 each. They have live wagering on all major games, the best betting variety in the business, and you can even get 10% back on your losses twice a year. Check it all out at our BetUS link in the description below. That description below will get you what you're looking for, so make sure you check it out. I hope you guys will enjoy that. BetUS is going to be a great sponsor for us this year. This is where it comes down to my guy. Dan's guy now, with the inside track there, Daniel. It comes from the question from Chiefs comments. Carson Steele for RB1. But seriously, talk me off the ledge, because if it were up to me, at the very least, he'd be part of a committee with Pops. And you're not going to get any argument from me. That is, I think, exactly what you want in terms of a committee. A guy that can come in with fresh legs and deliver similar type performance. I don't think he's any way faster than Pops. You put him, I'd have to go back and check their matrices. No, it's not.
You're like a 4.7.
That kind of supplement.
You ran like a 4.7. It wasn't very fast.
Right. So it's not that aspect of it, but running hard, running between the tackles, making impacts, making guys miss, not by juking them, but by running them over. Yes, he can be a 1-2 punch. Go ahead.
It's funny you bring up juking, because he has more juice than you expect him to have, because he's got a nice little jump cut right here. Look at this. That's not something you see from even the name. Why do I do this? Why do I do this? Pacheco can't do this. Pacheco can't do this. He cannot. Look at this. He makes the guy miss in the hole. He jumps across the other way. That's not something we see any of the running backs on the roster do. And you guys should watch it again, because this is one of the more impressive things that we've seen from a Chiefs running back since a guy named, I don't know, Kareem Hunt was in his prime. He could do this.
Yeah. I'm just going to sit here and smile.
Just saying.
He belongs in the rotation. It can't be a one for all. I can't say that he could be a third down back right now, but certainly what he gives you is a nimbleness and short yardage, if nothing else, that they haven't had. He's as big as my guy, Mike Burton. Shout out to Mike, who's still with the Broncos, still in the league at 31 years old. Kudos to you, buddy. But he's more nimble. He's got more acceleration. He is an actual running back. Like I've been trying to tell everybody, Andy sees it. He sees it. In fact, a lot of people retweeted me over Game Time. Don't call him a fullback, because he's got to learn to be a fullback. He said today that he had a few reps as a lead back, but that's not what he does. He's an actual running back, and I think he can play H as well. So part of the committee, absolutely, Chiefs comments. I definitely agree with you there. But you need a little punch too, a little kick of speed to come in as well. To tie into Minotaur, our resident membership giver, if he makes the roster, are you taking the over under that he will have a better career than Philip Dorsey? Maybe the polar opposite, like the smallest dude we've seen on an AFC West field in a long, long time. He was in UDFA, also in Denver. If he can make the initial cut, I will take the over for him.
Okay, that's going too far for me.
Mike, unfortunately, you guys, he's got thoughts though, and he's going to tell you them all. And he's kind of excited to do it.
Can you hear me?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. Well, just go.
So we're going to come back to Dan when we can hear him. Maybe he might be a drop and come back kind of situation. But I do think his build and his intensity gives you a better feel for him being able, if he can again get to that level, make it through to sustain a career and actually have
They can hear me
over what? Okay, I just can't hear you. Okay, well, that's even worse.
Apparently.
So I'll go away. You take over. I'll be back.
I don't understand how this keeps happening. Man, I've got different whole setup here, and apparently everyone can hear me. So it's a little too rich for me. Philip Lindsay went over 1,000 yards. Like, I don't think that Carson Steele has that capability right now. Now, there's a lot more to his game than I think we expected coming out, again, being a UDFA. But I'm not ready to put him in the realm of, yeah, he's going to have 1,000-yard season. No big deal. I don't know.
How many career yards does he have? I guess that's what I was getting at.
I don't know. Let me look it up.
Because I don't know if there's a whole lot beyond that 1,000. I could be wrong, but that's what I would be looking at. Because I do think that this is something that he could get 300, 400, 500 yards for years running once he makes it into a 53. Which
he had nearly 3,000.
Okay. So 6 years at 500, that's about even if you're looking at total yardage. We'll see about the touchdowns, because that would be, if you're talking fantasy, it's got to be about scoring points, right?
Yeah. So for I need to see it first. Okay. He's got to not just make the roster, because I think he's going to. I think it's almost guaranteed at this point, to be very honest with you. I have to see him in a game. I have to see him have a 100-yard game first, because right now we don't have. We have a 3, maybe 4 running back committee, with maybe Prince even still being thrown in there as well. So it's hard to get to 500 yards when you're the 4 or the 3, and you have to get to the 2. And right now the Chiefs still have CEH as the guy that will be taking the snaps from Isaiah Pacheco first. That's how that's going to work. So we got to see it first. I'm not ready to put him in. He'll be better than one of the best UDFA running backs of the recent memory in Philip Lindsay, who's unfortunately no longer on an NFL roster. But I'm excited about what he can do.
Agreed. Nick, thanks for the super chat, buddy. We'll get you up here on screen if it will work for me.
There we go.
Do you guys think that the fact that FAU was playing deep into the game was a bad thing or a good thing? Nick, I took it as a good thing, because he didn't get enough snaps last year, that he looked good enough in pushing the pocket and coming around that you wanted to let him get on a roll a little bit and like work up a good lather. That's how I took it, Dan. What did you think?
The only reason that I would have been upset with the playing time if he was doing nothing. Like, if they're like, fine, we're going to leave you out there because you're just not doing anything. That wasn't the case. He was getting pressure. He was being effective. He showcased his strength. That's one of the things that really impressed me, is from last year to this year, his physical actual strength has gotten better. So he can stand up against the run a bit better, which he was unable to really do as a rookie. He was really more of a gap shooter. So right now we're seeing improvement, and I think the Chiefs saw that, and they're like, okay, to get you a little bit of a rhythm and get you out there and making plays and trying to. I think he had 3 or 4 pressures last night and should have had a sack because of what should have been called a hold. Like, there's multiple things that he did very well in that game, and I think that I'm pretty excited about him getting that playing time to showcase what he's all about.
I'm very much hoping that, and I'm pretty confident he will get reps with the ones in this next game to show what that aspect of is the top end. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you and the support as always, my friend. Missed a couple here. I want to go back. You mentioned Clyde, solid on the roster as far as we know, right?
Yes, I believe so.
We're both there. And Alex, a young Peyton Hillis. That's an even better way to say it than Allstott, because Peyton had a little more wiggle than Allstott did this for sure. But I'll take either of them. I mean, I'll go back to Rathman, you guys. I don't care. I will take one. Let's get after it. Steve, thank you. How does Montreal Washington fit into the Chiefs' plans this year? I think he's going to be a break glass guy that sits on the practice squad that they feel has enough oomph if they have a string of injuries that he could come up and give them some reps.
Agreed. They're pretty small at wide receiver. and Washington doesn't make them bigger. So it's just about trying to find room for a bunch of small players on your roster. You don't really have a ton of that in terms of too many skill sets being similar. And I would say Montreal Washington and Nico Remigio had similar skill sets. You add McCole Harvin in there, similar skill set. You add Xavier Worthy in there, similar skill sets. And obviously he's a much faster and a little bit better of a route runner. But you guys see where I'm going with this. Like there's a lot of similar skill sets in the back end of this roster that you can't get there. There's not enough space.
Yeah, I'm with you. Steve, great question. And I'm glad you mentioned it. And thanks for being a member as always. What are the benefits and drawbacks of a veteran signing with a team's practice squad over signing with another team for more playing time? And this is what it comes down to. If you're on the practice squad and this team goes to a Super Bowl, you get a ring. You don't have to play a snap. If you're a member of the practice squad, you're in like Flint. All the benefits there, especially if you're an older veteran. You sign to the practice squad, you go out, you run some scout team, you go get a massage. You come out the next day, you run some scout team, you go in the cold tub. Life is a little bit easier, especially if your body is aging. I think actually it's a way for guys to extend their careers by not having to be in the grind until it's absolutely necessary. I think Mike Pennell is a perfect example of that last year. And look what he's doing now. He still looks like a kid to me right now.
Dude, Mike Pennell came out this morning and was pumping up the crowd in the rain. Like, this dude has gotten a second wind, and he looks very good. He was obviously very good for the Chiefs last year, and they were like, hey, you want to play? Like, we understand that you probably are okay sitting on the practice squad until it's time to come up in the postseason, but you seem like you're doing pretty good, and I think he's doing pretty good. He looks, like you said, younger. Just sometimes, man, winning a Super Bowl, being in the right place can completely just change the trajectory of someone's career.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the team, the big benefit is that you have someone you know has experience and can come in on short notice and fill in if you need it. It is a insurance policy worth buying. That's what it is for the teams. Thanks, Steve. Great question, buddy. And thank you, Info. Look at the depth chart. It has Curtis Jacobs over Cam Jones. Haven't heard much about him. What can you tell us? Curtis Jacobs, unfortunately, looks lost to me. I thought that of Cam Jones at times. I thought that of Jack Cochran at times. But I thought that of Curtis Jacobs pretty much the whole dang time. And I will give you just a little bit of a caveat. The unofficial depth chart is put out by Chiefs PR. That they don't get it from the coaching staff. They're going off of their own observations. That is not official in any way, shape, or form. So while it can be a guide, if you look at snap counts, it certainly doesn't match up. So I think let the snap counts be more telling for you.
But Ryan, Jack Cochran got a sack last night, so obviously he's better than everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Where was that guard looking, by the way? that was my question.
I don't know. I think he was worried about FAU. To be honest with you, it was like, oh, that guy.
Oh, where'd who go? Top 10 reference, folks. I had to do it. I'm old. Okay. Thank you, Info. I appreciate that. Let's see what he does next. And honestly, for Cam, for Jack, for Cole Christensen as well, let's see what they do next, because I think those three guys are mixed in a battle right now. And Dan, I'm going to let you take this next question, because my daughter is calling, and that means something negative. So I'll be.
Yeah. All right. We got you. All right, Dr. Ozzie, what's going on, man? Nice to be here. Who benefits the most from the rep vacuum with Hollywood likely out for the preseason? I think this has to be the one and only Xavier Worthy. He got no targets last night on Saturday night, and they really do want him to be a really big part of the offense. And he talked about today his role changing a little bit because of the Hollywood Brown not being out there. So I think we're going to see him moved around a little bit more than maybe he expected to. But the fact that he's going to speaks to the Chiefs' comfort with him doing that. And I think that we're going to see early in the season, maybe Xavier Worthy have to be relied on a little bit more than people expected, and maybe even he expected, because that's what this is kind of going to. And I think this will be really good for him. As we know, Andy Reid notoriously has been I don't want to play this rookie. I don't want to play this rookie. I don't want to play this rookie. And then last year he was like, I have to play this rookie because we have nobody else that can do anything. And so it paid some dividends, and I'm hoping that that might rub off on him in this scenario. Do you have any other differing thoughts on the question?
No, I'm with you. Let's just keep moving forward. Let it click. I'm just crossing my fingers.
Did you want to hit the member one before? Did we get that one, or do you want to save that one? Did you not see that?
Yeah,
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
he just commented that I don't know if we showed it.
All right, put it up there. Make sure we're talking about the same thing. You drive.
This one right here.
Ah, okay. Gotcha, Handyman. Okay. I know what you're going to say. I'm going to say it's all up here. For me, it looks like at least once the ball is snapped, he has a little bit better idea of what he's supposed to do other than run a 9 or run a post and go jump at the ball. Okay. I still think there's some things to go, but that was all that he could do functionally before. And I think the other night showed exactly that he has made some progress in his route running and understanding how to attack the defense.
Yeah, and we don't want anyone to feel like their stuff got skipped. So, and hopefully, you're not leaving because we know we didn't put it up there. So, I think that I'm with you. I'm more, I think, understanding. I think he's better finding out where he needs to be on the field in certain situations. Obviously, with understanding alignment, that leads me to believe that he's still not 100% bought in and knows where he needs to be at all times on the field. But what we saw on Saturday was that he did kind of naturally, instinctually understand the quarterback's out of the pocket. I need to get over it. I need to get open. I need to be able to do that. That is fast paced. It's quick, and it's how your brain has to operate. You have to be able to read that defense. You have to be able to see the quarterback get out and make the proper adjustment. So I think he's moving in the right direction because he always was a pretty gifted athlete before the injury. And if he's getting more removed from the injury and like getting into that point where he's able to maybe get in and out of breaks a little more, then I think that he'll be a much better option this year than just a deep ball winner, which we saw, a couple times last year.
Sorry there, Handyman. I must have misadvertently clicked that, with all of my wonderful internet woes out here. So my apologies, buddy. But yeah, and here's the thing is like, once you get a taste of it, I think you get motivated. I think stuff starts to click. So Let's see if he's improved this next week. He might take another step forward. And I'm happy to see that. Hopefully that he can do that and make himself not just, hey, could he make it? But yeah, he has to make it. That's what we want to be saying next week. So
absolutely
cross our fingers. Let's get there. Thanks, Handyman. Dubfree, thank you. Jensen and Avery, I love it. Hope you're doing well as well, bud. Do you think we overlooked the loss of Willie Gay because watching our defense a bit of a surprise with the mistakes made? I hope I'm wrong. It's just preseason. Yes, I agree with you. It's just preseason. And honestly, I think it's mostly rust for Leo and Tranquil in particular. The young guys got to come along, but honestly, Willie was still making some mistakes as well. So I think I miss his athleticism a little bit, especially that one play where Trank went over the top and they ran the arrow underneath him. Willie might get to that before it hits the end zone was my thought at the time. But other than that, I think they're okay. What do you think?
I think they're going to be fine. I think the instinctual athleticism is the biggest miss. And because, like you said, sometimes mentally, Willie was like, I don't really know if I'm supposed to be here. But sometimes when he was playing fast, it looked different. Like it looked just absolutely different. And they don't have that anymore. They don't have a guy that can 3 or 4 times a game just be like, oh, I see this coming and just blow something up and just stop and get in and out of breaks super, super quick like he can. So they're going to miss that a little bit. They're just going to have to be better in their zones. They're going to have to be more watching the quarterback and using their peripheral vision on those running backs and tight ends to be not as overcommitted like you saw Drew Tranquil be. He was a little bit too overcommitted to getting out to the right a little bit. And that's all a running back needs. I'm not a Travis Etienne guy. He's not that good. He really isn't. but he's fast and he's quick. He makes a cut and I'm done. Like it's over. So you have to be able to be very sound in your zone drops and instinctual to see what the quarterback's looking at.
Yeah, Willie would make mistakes, but he would make them at full damn speed. And
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thanks, Dub Freak. Appreciate
you, Dub.
Nice to see you. Kyle, Dan, will you be out there on Thursday? I'm either going tomorrow or Thursday, depending on the weather.
So unfortunately, tomorrow is my last day. My wife's gone right now. We don't have a ton of time. My daughter starts school. She's got flag football practice tomorrow night, so I have to go back home and get her to her first flag football practice tomorrow. And I wish I could have stayed longer, but I think that hopefully tomorrow the rain holds off, and if it worse, it's like just kind of sprinkling a little bit like it was today. Yeah, exactly, because it's forecasted to rain most of the morning. So that makes me a bit worried, especially considering that I did get the hotel room to stay here overnight to go to practice tomorrow. So hopefully it all works out, but won't be there Thursday.
Oh man, I tell you what. Enjoy that. The rain and her. I just love the idea of her playing flag football. That's hilarious. I have
she chose to. I didn't force her to. Awesome. I told her if she could play soccer, she could play flag football. She chose flag football. Oh, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna share this with everyone since she's not here to hear it and she's on her way home. One of the like proudest moments that I've had in the last 3 weeks is my teenager who's about to play flag football for high school. She sat down the other night and she's like, Dad, I want to sit down and hang out with you for a while. We're going to watch something. I'm like, okay. She's like, I'm putting this on. And she put on Netflix and put on the Receiver series. And we watched 3 episodes of it.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's the little things, man. It is the little things in life. Oh, Napoleon, nice to see you. Imagine that you are Veach and you can take one free agent from the following group. Who do you take? McKinnon, Donovan Smith, Justin Simmons.
Okay, pretty easy for me. Even though he's visiting with the Falcons today, you take the best player, and it's Justin Simmons. You take the best player. As much as I'd like the depth of both McKinnon and Donovan Smith, you take the best player. And no offense to Brian Cook, but Justin Simmons says hello to you and go sit down on the bench because I'm going to take your job and be the best free safety for this defense and let Spags get really fun with the blitzes that he puts out there.
Yeah, I mean, he is the best player, and it would be Cook that's sad. I'm totally with you. Brian Cook is a third safety. I'm very, very comfortable with that. So, but I think in terms of impact, I think the guy that might make the bigger impact right now is McKinnon, because of everything he did last year.
I agree.
I'd be torn, and he'd be about 10% of the contract, to tell you the truth.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. Great question, Napoleon. Great question. Adam, thank you. And thank you for before, Adam. I appreciate you. I felt like Jack Cochran looked lost out there. Got completely Nick Bosa a couple of times off of play action. What did you guys see? Yeah, I saw some of those mistakes as well. The big thing for me is Cam looked better, in my opinion, versus the pass. He looked better against the run, in my opinion. But they both failed to shed worth a crap the whole night. They couldn't get off of blocks. They were able to keep themselves away. They did all right. But once they got engaged, they could not get off of guards' blocks.
It's rough. A couple times. It's not just them. There's a lot of guys that couldn't really stack and shed when you need them to in the run game. I'm a little, I will say it, I'm a little worried about their linebacker position this year. It's not even just the total loss of Gay, which adds the athleticism. It was the completeness of it last year. Because even though Willie Gay is not a complete football player, he completed the room. You had 4 guys that you could say, for any situation, we have an answer. Right now, they do not have an answer for some situations. And that worries me a little bit.
The only caveat I'm going to throw at you is, as I'm trying to think like Spags, I think he's comfortable, maybe not right away, but certainly after the bye, of saying, Jaden, you're now my nickel backer. You're not a safety anymore. Go in there and be a backer. And I think that's the only saving grace right now.
Please. This is what I said. Like, this is the Daniel Sorensen, but better. If you can get him to be what Daniel Sorensen was, but better, which he absolutely is, you do complete your linebacker room because he does what no one else in that linebacker room can do. So I'll be right there. I'll be right there with you on that one.
And to the previous question, if you're going to do that, then there's an open spot in the safety room. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Minotaur, again, thank you
Woo!
for helping our members out, growing the membership. We appreciate it. There's 400 folks in here. 5 more of them just became members. So cheers to you guys and cheers to you, buddy. Appreciate it. Gary is one of our mods. Everybody give him a hand in the chat if you would. Gary is an OG moderator around here, and I appreciate you, buddy. How long do you see the starters and Mahomes playing in preseason game number 2? I see it a little bit differently. I think it could only be 2 series. That might be the first quarter, but I think 2 series is about it for Mahomes and Kels. Everybody else, I think, plays longer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everyone else plays longer, and I still think Mahomes and Kelsey play a full quarter. And again, that could just be 2 drives, but it depends on if they get 2 good. Okay, I'll caveat this: if they get 2 good sustained drives, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are probably done. I'll go that far. If they get like a 3 and out, and then it's going into the second quarter, and they're in the middle of a drive or something like that, I think they'll play a little bit longer. But if they get 2 good drives, Andy will probably pull those 2, but let everyone else play.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Here, you want to take this next one, and I will answer it. Thank you, Gary, and everybody give Gary a hand, will you? He's the man.
Appreciate you, Gary. All right, Brent, was Wanya an injury-prone player in college? Not to my knowledge. I don't think he had a ton of like missed games. I know he had a couple of like nicks and bruises and stuff like that, but he wasn't labeled an injury-prone player to my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't know.
You bought me the time that I needed. He missed weeks 1 and 2 and the playoff game as a junior when he was coming out. I would not call that injury prone. I believe that was a hamstring, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
He did only play 6 games the year before that. I don't know the circumstances around that, unfortunately. And then in 2020, he didn't become a player. He didn't get on the field until week 4, but he didn't leave the field that season. He was left tackle and he stayed right there. So I guess the answer is maybe.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah. Maybe, sort of. Kind of, maybe. Yeah. Who knows?
Kind of, maybe. Oh, we're singing songs now, huh?
Yeah, that's what I do. You know, I got a 5-year-old with me. I'm singing songs all the time.
Oh, I know. I'm sure mine are going to walk in and start singing "Call Me," maybe. Yeah. This is what happens when you're a girl dad. Minotaur, can we point out that Ian Book seems to spin left and bail out of pockets that feel like every snap? Yeah, we call that happy feet. And that's he had a gargantuan offensive line at Notre Dame, and that's the only reason that he didn't do it then.
He still did it then, because he is a one read and go quarterback. He just does not have the ability to go through reads and feel comfortable. So if it's not there, he's pulling the ball and he's running it. And he did it again in practice today. I'm just in practice. In practice against a defense that's not really coming after you, he said, "Nah, I'm good."
Dang, bro. Come on. You're here to throw the ball. Let's get after it. Thank you, Minotaur. I meant to go here first. Sorry. Dennis. Watched Locked On. Heard all the switching in the offensive line. I thought the right side was weak in the game. What do you think was the reason for switching? Thank you for all you do. You're absolutely welcome. Dan, I've already spoken on Locked On what I thought of it. What do you think?
First of all, thank you for the 10 spot there, Dennis. Always appreciate the support of the channel. And I was rewatching the game, and the first and second team right tackles were Juwan Taylor and Lucas Niang. Lucas Niang did not play bad. I was wrong about that. Like, he had one really bad snap, and it was near the end of the first quarter first half when he played left tackle after that, where he was not good. Not good. He's not a left tackle, anybody. That experiment should be done. But at right tackle, he was not bad at all. So the constant changing is them just trying to get everyone snaps in a first real preseason game to see what everyone does their best. And I think you can objectively say that Hansen had some very up and down snaps. The one guy that I think solidified a position for himself, if it's anything, it's Norzad, who was not good at right guard, but he was good at center and he was good at left guard. Those were the two spots where you can say, okay, I see something there. Like those were good. And the second team offensive line, the tackles were better than I previously thought on watchback. I think Godric and Niang both played fine. But when they switched is when you saw them be bad. Like Godric was not a good right tackle and Niang was not a good left tackle. So it's hard to get everything when you're watching a preseason game and you're trying to get eyes on everything and you're seeing pressure. You don't know why. The Jags blitzed a ton in the preseason for no reason. For absolutely no reason, they were out here saying, we're going to blitz the Chiefs. So some of that is the offensive line working through some stuff. It's also the Jags being absolutely ridiculous and just saying, we're going to blitz.
Yeah, it was silly. Today, evidently, they moved Driscoll back over to right, where he'll be more comfortable, and Niang back to left. So we'll see how that experiment continues forward. But I agree, and I think Caliendo is a guard. I know he can snap. I didn't think he looked particularly good there. I thought Norzad was better as the center. So I like what they did, and Dennis is just trying to set those different combinations, particularly on the interior, about who can play next to each other and handle all the responsibilities. The center is a lot more cerebral position than people give it credit for. And I do think multitasking is one of the skill sets you have to be an NFL center that's any good.
Agreed.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. You too, Ben. 18 months, man. 18 months.
Woo!
Well done. We appreciate you, and thank you for your support. Are y'all worried about the roster being too top-heavy, not enough depth this year? At certain positions, sure. Linebacker, running back in particular. I actually thought the defensive tackles that I was concerned about played pretty solid, all the veterans. My guy Lovett did not make as much progress as I had hoped, and I'm not terribly worried about it at this point because I think they have enough ahead of them right now.
I'm still of the opinion that I would prefer not to see, no offense to him, Mike Pennell out there as like a backup, because I just want him to be a break glass in case of emergency. Personally, I want to see the young guys out there getting experience. I just do. I want to see Fabian Levitt make the roster to get some experience, because if you're just log jamming the system with guys who are fine but not getting any better, all they're doing is preventing your young players from getting better. That's all it is to me. And sometimes Andy Reid and Spags do that, and that bothers the ever-living hell out of me. So that's what I personally would like to do, but I can't argue with the fact that they looked pretty good yesterday. Just in a little previous watch. I'm going to watch the defense more today and tomorrow to get a better breakdown for you guys for Wednesday, but it's frustrating. I don't think it's going to last, personally, because I don't think it can last. Older bodies break down over the season, so I think we'll see that.
I hope he plays against the Ravens in particular, just to kind of set that tone, and then they let him rest for a while, and we'll see in week 10.
I like that.
That's kind of what I would like to see happen. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Ben.
And Doctor, very good point. I should shout you out for this more because you are far more patient with your, what is she now? 6?
She's 5.
5.
She's 5.
You're way more patient than I was with mine at that age. So
it wasn't earlier. It took a while to get to this point, and being a stay-at-home dad forces you to learn more about being patient, because guess what? It's just you and her. It's just you and her, especially when your wife's deployed for 6 months. So there was a curve to learning this, but I appreciate that very much. And I just want to take this moment to thank those of you that were at camp today on Monday and said hi and appreciate all of the love for the show and everything like that. So thank you guys so much for being there, and hopefully tomorrow they get out there so we can see each other again, because that'll be a lot of fun.
I hope so. Thank you all, and thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you. Brett, besides being a second round pick, what has this guy done to show that he's on the 53 over Nico? Special teams wise, Nico is better. And as a wide receiver in this training camp, Nico has been better. He has been in practice. He's been better, I would say. I'm not so sure when the level of competition jumped up that he was better than Sky the other night. So what do you think?
I understand people see Nico Remigio getting open against third teamers, and that's fair. I understand. Guy Moore was wide open for what should have been a touchdown on the 3rd and short in with Patrick Mahomes. Wide ass open. From the slot, by the way, not on the outside, from the slot, like I've been saying. But I just want to point that out very quickly, okay? Sky Moore was open. He's not an outside player. He's not a quick twitch player. He is a guy that you need to put in the slot to get in a little bit more free releases. And that's what they did. They had him run an over route with Xavier Worley taking the top off on the outside. And you want to know what happened? Xavier Worley won on the outside. He didn't throw the ball to him. And you had Sky Moore just win on the over route, just wide open. So that I understand the want for a guy who has impressed in training camp in his limited action in the preseason over a guy who's been disappointing to a lot of fans and to his draft stock on the field. It's natural. We all want the grass is greener on the other side, right? This guy's been really blowing it up. The reality of the situation is that he'd probably be the same type of player in the NFL, but he would need to be fed behind the line of scrimmage. He's probably not getting open in the NFL against some of these cornerbacks. And the fact that he's still not able to beat out McCole Hardman. No offense, McCole. No offense. To get reps in the first preseason game should tell you that Sky Moore, for everything that he has been really put through this last calendar year, is in a better place right now than I think he was last season. I think the pressure's finally off him a little bit. And this year, probably the last one. Probably the last one. He's got one more year in his contract. But Sky Moore's probably not going to be a 2-contract player in Kansas City. It happens. It happens all the time.
It does. And that's okay. That's why, again, we always advocate trading back from the 30s when you're there, because everything has risk and you might as well take more bites at the apple in the second round because you just might miss. You never know. I will say this, though, in Nico's defense, I think that was his first significant action where he had to take that step forward, everything that he did while he was hurt. So let's see if he
Agreed.
also can make a jump into the second preseason game. I would like to see it. I'm pulling for him. So let's give her a shot. Cal, is Justin Reed done after this year? Contractually, his contract is up. Yes, he'll be a free agent, but done playing? No. And honestly, I don't think he's done being a Chief either. Do you, Dan?
I don't want him to be, but if we're being very honest about the situation, they drafted his replacement. They did. They drafted his replacement. Jaden Hicks is a bigger, kind of a better overall ceiling player than Justin Reed. Now, he's not better right now. Ceiling-wise, he's got more upside than I think Reed has. But I would still want him in Kansas City. I think Justin Reed is a glue and football IQ, everyone loves him, locker room kind of guy. I'd love to have him in Kansas City. I don't want to mince words about that. I want him in Kansas City. But Jaden Hicks did get drafted. Let's not forget this. And the Chiefs even said he was a surprise. They didn't plan on drafting him, but he fell there and it's like, we can't not draft this guy.
Right. Got to do it. The only thing that I will say is I do think Jaden has a farther way to go to be able to play even split safety high. He is comfortable down low, robber and below. Learning that's going to be a process, and I think that's the edge that we're going to have to see him take if he's going to make it expendable for Justin Reed. I expect he'll be back. Just my 2 cents.
I hope so.
Gary, me too. If McDuffie has a Pro Bowl year, do the Chiefs try and sign him or let him go like Snead? I think there's a bigger difference. McDuffie has no injury history that we know of at this point. I think he had 1 concussion, right? I think he is more of a vocal leader and is able to run that room better than LJ did. LJ was a trash talker, but he wasn't like an instructional player from everybody that I've talked to that's been in the locker room. So I do think there are some significant difference off the field that might lead to him being back rather than being let go?
I think that the football IQ stuff is off the charts. I think McDuffie is a guy you want to have on your team, not just for the leadership stuff, not just for the way he plays, but he's a coach. He knows everything about this defense, and I think he's probably going to be, if not a DB's coach, because he's so good, maybe a defensive coordinator in the future. I think he is super smart. He gets the game.
You totally have a good point. Like the future, that could be easily how we see him for a very long time. Ethan, what specifically would it take for Tony to win you guys back over outside of just playing healthy a lot? Being productive. Show me something besides trick play, jet motion kind of thing. Show me you can go down the field between 12 and 20 yards and move the ball. Be a chain mover. And I need 3 games of that and I'll feel better.
Don't say a word on social media for the entire NFL season.
I didn't even...
Don't press send. Don't press send. Just don't do it the whole season. And okay. All right. We'll be all right.
Oh my God. I've got to write that down before I forget it. Good Lord. Don't press send. Our newest t-shirt available on RGR store. Oh my God. Oh, that was beautiful, dude. Oh, okay. Caroline, random question, but are y'all opinions on Brett Coleman? I'm torn.
I respect Brett.
Brett, like all of us, I respect what he does. He burns the tape. And like all of us who watch tape, whether for a living or for a very deep passion, you get your own takes that you like and things that you focus in on. And sometimes they lead you astray. Everybody has misses in this business. Every last one of us that ever watches film, he's just very adamant about a couple of things that I really disagree with. And I think other people do as well. And so I think it calls him out a little bit more, but I listen to what he says. Let me put it that way.
I always look at what Brett says. I don't ever take what anybody says as gospel. There's nobody that is always right, like Ryan said. It's not possible. There's just nobody. Even Andy Reid. We don't agree with the way they use and have used Clyde Edwards-Helaire for his entire career. Like that, sometimes you're wrong, and I think that happens to everybody. And Brett is outspoken. People will respect him, and I think that specifically this one direction that he's gone with the Chargers has altered some of his views. I will say that I don't think that he's as locked in to being a sponge as he once was. I think that there are some things that have gotten in those sponge nook and crannies and kind of stayed in there and not gotten out. And it happens to sometimes. I just my own opinion.
Avery agrees. It's too bad you're not cute, kid. That sucks.
I'm still working.
Alex, thank you, buddy, for the 2 spot. We're almost done, Avery. 1 minute, I swear. We'll speed through these.
She's fine. She's gonna go brush her teeth.
How about Steele Thomas Jones comparison? Better? Potentially. I won't say right this minute because he's been in the NFL for half a second, but Jones knew where he was going most of the time. But yes, could he be? Yeah.
I still really like the Kareem Hunt comp. I think that stylistically it makes a lot of sense. And like route running stuff, I see a lot of the same type of play style. They're roughly the same height, I believe. They look the same height, at least on tape. I think he's bigger than Hunt was, but play style wise, I do believe that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, bud. KL, thank you as always. 15 months in memberships. Appreciate you keeping us going, buddy. Do you have any good food out there in St. Joe, Daniel?
I tried Hawaiian Brothers for the first time today. I know that's not like a St. Joe thing, but I got the luau pig for my lunch. That was actually way better than I expected, and considering how expensive it was, it damn well better be. And then for dinner, we tried a pizza joint, Lazzarone Napoleon Pizzeria, Neapolitan, excuse me. Apparently, the players go down there quite frequently. Because Avery and I went to get some pizza, and I heard the guy who was making it talking to somebody else who was there about the entire offensive line, that Patrick had brought the entire offensive line here, and they had, like, everywhere was filled. So that's a place to go to. I will be posting a picture of the pizza that we got on Twitter when we are done here. I just haven't done it yet. So that's one place that we are going to, that we went to. We're going to hit one more spot. I don't know where for lunch tomorrow before we leave, though.
Very cool. Very cool. We can do those, 2-minute reviews as well. I'm just saying.
Keep forgetting.
Raskers, nice to see you. Do you guys feel Miles Battle ends up on the practice squad? I actually do. I thought he moved pretty well. It was against 3s or probably 4s, but enough to keep me intrigued. You?
Yeah, I think so. They have a lot of the same type of those guys that they like to have on the practice squad, and I think that he's one of them that makes sense. And he's been this is his second year in Kansas City, is it not? If I'm not mistaken. So also knows the system. Oh, he's a rook. Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of a different battle. So yeah, I think he can make it.
Yeah, I let's see what he does this year. Maybe, hopefully, he'll get in, third quarter against some better competition. That's what I'm ready to see. Thanks, Raz. Choro, Ryan, what do you think of the number 22 ranking for KU? What's your prediction for the new Big 12? I was happy to see it. I think that that shows you what Jalen Daniels' reputation is. I think Devin Neal is slept on by a lot of people around the nation. And I'll go this far. KU ends up with a better record than Colorado and Shedeur Sanders. I'll tell you that, because not only I think Jalen is a more competent quarterback overall, I think he's got a better receiving crew with Grimm and Skinner and everybody else. Travis Hunter can't do it all by himself. And that skinny kid whose name I can't remember out of Colorado, I don't think he's got enough. So I think they actually perform better as a team than Colorado does.
So I will disagree a little bit on the Shedeur Sanders. I really like Shedeur Sanders, but I love Jaden. I think Jaden's a very good quarterback and very underrated in national media. But the fact that they got the 22 ranking shows that he's not underrated in their eyes. So that's a good thing. That's a good starting point. The wide receiver room, I will agree with you. I think Jimmy Horton Jr. is a very good receiver for Colorado. I did a break. I watched his tape. He's got some real quick twitch, but it is a very top-heavy group. They don't have anybody else. And Travis Hunter is fantastic, but I don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to play receiver? Is he going to play corner? I don't know. I wonder about that, and sometimes that can mix in your head about your last season in football. We don't see it a lot because college football players don't do it, but high school players, I would imagine it does end up a little bit like that. So I like where you're headed, because I think KU is going to be pretty good this year.
And Dan would know better than me, because I have not done my homework on this year's crew yet. Not my time here. I coached my daughter's flag football team in 2nd grade. It was the highlight, man. I am glad to hear it.
Please,
Coach Dan. Coach, I am here for Coach Dan.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that.
I know. Me and Avery are going to have a talk. Okay. Logan, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Good to see you guys. Cheers to another year. Thanks for being with us as always. Nice to see you, Logan. I know you pop up from time to time, and it's not
appreciate you, Logan.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Jacob, will FAU be a good contributor this year with what he did in this past game? I think so. I think he's going to be a rotational pass rusher, and I think he'll get better as the year goes on. The question is going to be, what does it look like when Menahue comes back? Because there's going to be times that Mike Daniel's going to have to play inside, and I think FAU will be the guy that steps up outside for me. What that means with a Menahue back, it kind of throws everything into a thing there, Dan. But when you have a second, go ahead and take your time.
Yeah, no, we're good. I'm just trying to negotiate the terms of this teeth brushing. That's all. As we all know. So yeah, I think he's going to be a decent contributor this year. But when Menahue comes back, it depends on how well FAU is playing. Okay, I will say this: you might see Menahue come in and be your starter, but slide into the inside on 3rd downs next to Chris Jones with George Karlaftis and FAU on the outside, depending on how he's performing. That is your ideal situation, Chiefs fans. Ideal situation.
Yeah. Agreed. We're going to wrap it up here. Girk, Madden 25 is missing Steele and Zamet. Love the show. Girk, I love you bringing that up, and thanks for the support, buddy. I am going to get that this year. I don't usually have time to play, but with multiple 99s, I just got to own it, I'm pretty sure. So maybe we can build them. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll build Steele. Okay, this could be a fun little side. Okay. That'll work. Girk, thank you. Appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate
Cole,
you, Girk.
what happened to CITN? So Seth is taking a step back. He is concentrating on the newsletter part of Chief in the North. So just go get sub to him over there. He's super cheap and easy. So he's always available, and he's concentrating on the writing portion of it. So that's all. Not a big deal. We'll get him on here at some point. It just won't be every
Phrasing.
week. So thanks for asking, though, Cole. Appreciate you. And Nick, this one's for you, Dan. Go to Boudreaux's. Great Cajun food.
So I looked up Boudreaux's, but I saw a lot of fried food. Like a ton of it. So I'm not opposed to Cajun food because I do love Cajun food. But if it's most of the pictures I'm seeing are going to be fried, I typically stay away from that, especially with myself trying to eat a little healthier. I know we had pizza tonight, but it was thin style, like legitimately really good pizza, and they had some hot honey on it. Oh dude, I'm going to share the dude. It was different. So maybe we'll try it for lunch tomorrow, Nick.
Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Oh my Lord. Oh, okay. Try Adam's Bar and Grill or Barbosa Mexican.
I've heard something. I've heard another place about Barbosa Mexican restaurant. So that I also love me some Mexican food. So maybe we hit that for lunch. I don't know.
Thank you, Werewolf. You're absolutely right. I will try to get that done as soon as I can buy that game. So thank you guys for being here. Dan, thanks for taking the time. Have fun with the little one. Tell her I said brush her teeth twice for me. Okay?
She did. We're good.
Okay, rock on. All right. Have a good night. You guys have a great time. Check out BetUSA. You can get 125% on your bonus up to $2,000 right now. BetUS is helping us out, and they have a ton for us. So thank you for supporting those that support us. Have a great night. I'll be back with a piece tomorrow, Dan on Wednesday, Gary after that, and then we're looking at pregame. So have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.